Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. You're watching a special on PTV World, and I'm your host, Khalid. But Hajj 2018 is upon us. And as you know, it is the fifth pillar of Islam after Shahadat, Namaz, Roza, Zakat. And it is very important and it is obligatory for all Muslims around the world to do it if they have the means to do it. Today, of course, is that famous day of Hajj this year, where 1.5 million Muslims from across the world are performing Hajj. Also from Pakistan, around 179,000 Muslims have gone to Saudi Arabia to perform Hajj, and around the same amount of people go every year to perform Hajj. What is the significance of Hajj? What is the importance of Hajj? What changes you once you perform Hajj? What is the intention that you need to have in your mind and your soul when you perform Hajj? To talk about that and much, much more, we've been joined by a very eminent scholar and guest. He is no stranger to Pakistan television. He's been holding many programs on religion on our very network since the last many years. His name is, of course, Professor Dr. Anis Ahmed, your religious scholar, as well as a Vice Chancellor of the Ripha International University. Dr. Saab, thank you very much to have given us the time and to have given us the opportunity on such an auspicious occasion to give us more details about this important pillar of Islam. Dr. Saab, for all those who might not know or might know but have not a clear mind about it, what is Hajj?
Well, anyone who opens a book on Islam or tries to read the Quran will find that Hajj is mentioned with its due importance. And quite often we say it's a pillar of Islam. If you visualize a structure without pillars, it could be a heap of bricks. But if you have pillars on which the whole weight of a structure is resting, then the structure becomes more durable, more strong. The more strong pillars are, the more strong the building will be.
That is so
Therefore,
true.
It is called a pillar of Islam. But why do you call it a pillar of Islam? You call it because it's not just a ritual. In all world religions, you find there are some sacred places, some sacred persons whose burial places have become sanctuaries, and people travel hundreds of miles to visit those places. But what do they gain out of that? They visit, praise miraculousness of the person or land. In Islam, Hajj transcends all these concepts. It's not simply visit of a place known as Makkah or traveling from Makkah to Mina, Muzdalfa, Arafat and coming back. But it's a matter of a process of transformation. And that starts from the very day when one makes intention.
All right. And when you begin that journey, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika la labbaik, innal hamda wal ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika la. You keep on reciting that till you see the Kaaba once you leave your home for Makkah Mukarramah. Is that the case, sir?
Yeah, you see, the ritual starts with the intention or niyyah, and then this talbiyah, the wordings you just mentioned, are to be recited loudly by every pilgrimage who leaves his home or her home towards Makkah. Whether they are going by airplane, traveling from nearby places in their automobiles or whatever is the situation. The talbiyah tells us that I am responding to your call. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Oh my Rabb, I am responding to your call. And then you are the owner of whole universe. You are great. You are my only support. You are my only hope. All these aspects make the faith more and more sound in what we call Tawheed.
All right.
Therefore, the Talbiyah is call of Tawheed. When a person starts journey of Hajj, he may be from Pakistan, from Turkey, from Tunis, from anywhere in the world. And if he's in Tunis, he wears a very long dress and a red prayer hat. If he's in Turkey, he wears a Western suit. If he's in Nigeria, he wears a different robe. But the moment he makes intention to go for Hajj, all these dresses become obsolete for him. Globally, all Muslims shun their dresses, shun their language, shun their culture, shun their belonging, shun their relations, and become only linked with only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by this one response. I'm coming to you because you called me. And I'm coming to your home to ensure that I have left everything behind but your love.
All right.
This is a journey of love. It's a journey of transformation.
So this journey of love or this journey of transformation that you talk about, how does one come to that level, to kind of go through that transformation, to have that increased love, to want to go to perform Hajj?
You see, it is just like if you want to get a driving license, you try to find out learner's manual. Then you read it. Then you give a written exam or online exam. Then you give a practical exam. And when you sit on a steering wheel for the first time, you have joy of driving. If without all that process, I sit on a steering wheel and start driving, can I enjoy that?
No, of course not.
Which means when one makes intention for Hajj, then a person should prepare himself. Just as if you want to go for a prayer in masjid, either from our home we make wudu, we make sure dress is not stained, dress is clean, and when we are in the masjid we make sure we are facing the Qibla direction, not the other way. All these things and arranging themselves in one line gives the message that the person is aligning himself with the community, becoming one of them, and all of them together believe in only one Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, towards whom they bow down and make the sujood. Similarly, Hajj brings that global unity. In masjid, I have a unity of community, or maybe in a very huge mosque, the unity of the town. But here you have a global conference where people who are bluish of the blue, white of the white, all of them come. That reminds me of a very interesting comment made by Al-Hajj Malik Shahbaz, known as Malcolm X. When he made his pilgrimage, he writes about that and says that I was there for these 10 days living in camp, rubbing my shoulders with the black of the black and white of the white, and even sharing in snoring with them. Which means that earlier he was a black nationalist. He believed black is beautiful and white is evil, because his mentor Elijah Poole said that all white are Satan. But when Allah showed him right path and he was invited to make Hajj, he discovered for the first time that Muslims are not just blacks, but Muslims are white, yellowish, all kind of colors, all kind of languages. In one single camp, you find a Nigerian, you find a Australian, you find a American, you find someone coming from Indonesia, and all of them sit and feel in same way. That transformed him completely.
All right.
His whole vision, vision of knowledge, vision of world, vision of society, vision of man, everything transformed. Now that means if a person begins his or her journey from his hometown with some understanding, some knowledge, and that goes to mosque leaders, imams, that goes to teachers in universities, that goes to media. I wonder, PTV or any channels, how much time have they devoted before the month of Zilhijjah starts to organize programs where they bring scholars who, based on correct sources, keeping away all those trivialities which people talk about, but they just explain what's the process, why we do it, what do you want to achieve out of it. How many programs are done to orient people?
That is
If
so
we
true.
do not do it and find that our people from Pakistan or elsewhere go and just join a crowd, then they will come back as crowd. Hajj is a process of purification, intentional effort, effort which involves your whole involvement. That's why when a person starts from his home, says, "Oh Allah, I'm coming to you," and when he looks on Haram Kaaba, stops and then starts making tawaf, that now I have left everything and now I offer myself as your servant, and I want to prove I'm only your servant. This making 7 rounds is symbolic way of telling that now what I had left was this body, these 2 sheets I am wearing, but even that I offer to you as your servant. And whatever sins and wrongs and ego and pride and arrogance I had, I want to sacrifice all that in your name for you to please you.
All right.
If a person who is a head of a state goes for Hajj and wants to have a protocol around him, that his bodyguards are there with guns around, I think he is missing the opportunity. If a person goes there and thinks that he is a philosopher, he is a teacher, and so he is just thinking of philosophical issues, he is missing the boat. It's not a matter of at that point in life a person is acting like a philosopher or a king, but you are a servant. And servant means you sacrifice everything you have, your thoughts, your ideas, your wealth, your time, your health, everything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's what you find when Sayyidina Ibrahim was essentially commanded to sacrifice his son, in which memory we celebrate globally this Eid al-Adha or Eid of sacrifice. The challenge was that in old age he gets a gift from Allah in the form of a son. Usually a person who is old thinks that if he has a male child will be his resource, he will depend on him.
The real heir.
He can put his hand on his shoulder when he is very old and cannot walk, and this son will take care of everything. With all those visions of a father, he got Hazrat Ismail as his son. And when Ismail is about to become an adult, when he is touching the boundaries of childhood and adulthood, at that point when you feel more and more attached to your son, your hopes are now ripening, at that point a dream comes and says, you better sacrifice your son. What will be the heart feelings of this father? Maybe it's Satan who is just misguiding me. Again dream comes, and we know that dreams of prophets are always true. They are not like our dreams based on how much we eat. The dreams are different. So third time when dream comes, then he is sure. Then he tells his son, let's go, and this is Allah's command. But look now, sacrifice is not just fathers, but how the child responds. The child did not say, Baba, you love me so much. You pray to Allah that He may send me to you as a support, as a gift. Are you crazy? You want to kill me? Neither his wife said, it's our only child, eldest child. If the child sacrifices, how will we survive? No one in the family raises a single objection. All of them submit to what Allah wants. And so they go, and he takes him on a mountain and asks him to lie down, but lie down in a way that they cannot see his face. So his face down. Naturally, if at the time of putting a knife on the throat of a son, you look at the face, the knife must fall down. You must shiver, you must faint, you must fall down yourself. But nothing happens. It's not a drama, it's a real fact of life. The son says, please go ahead and you will find me obedient. So, sacrifice essentially means that submission in which a loving father, a loving and obedient son, none of them have their self or ego coming in between.
That is so true, sir. This element of sacrifice that you've talked about, it is not only part of Eid ul-Azha, but it is also part of the Hajj that we perform every year. But for that, you need to have that intention from the very heart, from the very soul. And do you feel that this intention, this strength of intention is very relative from person to person?
Definitely, definitely. And that's why one should always pray when going for Hajj, that may Allah accept and may Allah make your heart so soft and your eyes so watery that when you see Allah's home, Baitullah, then you start talking to Him in a language without words. Unless that feeling is aroused, unless that direction is set, it becomes essentially a mechanical Hajj. Just like we have mechanical prayer 100 times in our life. How many of the people who walk towards masjid and make their wudu feel that every drop of water which is washing their hands and face and feet and ankles and elbows, and they are wiping their hair, with all that, whatever wrong they have done is being removed. When they were in their executive office and feeling very proud of their estate, when they were in parliament very proud of their position, in a cafeteria very much proud of, this is the best menu I can get in the world, with all those kinds of feelings and harming people around, hurting them with ego. When one goes to masjid, does one feel that this water falling on my hands and face is washing off all this pride? Or it's a mechanical wudu?
That is so true. As it is, it could be a mechanical namaz or a mechanical Hajj. Depends on how strong your intention is, spiritual and otherwise. We are in conversation with Professor Dr. Anis Ahmed, talking about the importance, spiritual and otherwise, of the ritual of Hajj. We'll be back after a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. We're talking about the importance of Hajj. This is the day of Hajj 2018. I'm your host, Khalid Butt, and in this very special program on PTV World, we've been joined by Professor Dr. Anis Ahmed, who is a religious scholar and the Vice Chancellor of the Ripha International University. Dr. Saab, there is a thing called intention that we talked about and how strong this intention needs to be. But after all of that, we see a lot of people who perform their Hajj, who return, and then continue with the same routine that they had, having the same kind of ego issues that they had, having the same kind of relationship troubles that they had, whether it be with the elders or with the young ones or people in their offices. Does that make them a true Haji? Does that really make their Hajj a properly performed Hajj?
There are three things that we must focus on. Firstly, when a person makes intention of Hajj and starts the journey, and without reaching the threshold of Makkah Mukarramah passes away, the Quran says his Hajj has been accepted. Which means with pure intention, when a person has gone there and performed all those procedures and steps which are needed, then we have every reason to believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who tells about himself that he is Ghafurur Rahim, he is Af, means forgiveness. Afuun Kareemun Tuhibbul Af. He is all forgiveness and extremely jealous to distribute this forgiveness. With all that attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I have no reason to believe that the person who went there for Hajj and has met requirements is coming back without success.
All right.
Secondly, the person who is going there, having performed all rituals, was never told, when you are near Zamzam and drinking a sip of Zamzam by standing, not by sitting, you are following Sunnah of your Rasul. Normally we drink water when we sit.
Yes.
But in this ritual, you drink when you are standing, because Prophet did it. No one tells him, when you are making your sa'i, then you are trying to experience how the young Ismail was lying down and his mother Sayyida Hajra, how she was looking around for any sign of water, any sign of a bird, by which she could infer that since there are birds around, there must be some water within their reach, and go and find from them. So running between two mountains, so she could find any way of feeding her child or drinking water, so she could feed him. When they are making sa'i, are they really having that kind of feeling in their hearts and minds? Are they told about it? Do the so-called traveling agents who arrange Umrah and Hajj provide them with an orientation? Do we have in every masjid in Pakistan or Indonesia or anywhere else a PowerPoint presentation? Today you cannot have any excuse in saying we have imams who are not very educated. No, you have a USB in which you have the whole thing recorded. You have a diskette in which you have the whole thing recorded. You can project everything that you want about Hajj. You can do it 10 times a day. We never use technology, we never use our brain to educate them. So how could we have that feeling?
All right, that feeling is very important, to educate yourself before you go on the Hajj, to know exactly what kind of rituals you have to follow when you perform Hajj. It's very important so that you perform everything as per the Sunnah. We'll be back after a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching a PTV World Special in which we're talking about Hajj 2018, its importance, its effectiveness, and its the change that it brings on the Muslims all over the world before they perform Hajj, during they perform Hajj, and after, once they've performed Hajj. What change does it bring to your individual self, the society, the country, the Muslim Ummah in general? We've been, of course, joined by a very eminent guest, Professor Dr. Ahmed. He's a religious scholar. Let's continue our conversation. Dr. Saab, in the beginning of the show, you had mentioned Malcolm X.
Yeah.
You had said that when he had gone, he had been taught a different set of rules, and when he was there, he felt something that was totally different. how much of us Muslims who go to perform Hajj from all over the world feel what Malcolm X felt?
I think the basic difference is if you go with an inquisitive mind, a learning psyche, then you learn a lot. If you go by following the book that you carry in your hand, you learn nothing. Unfortunately, majority of people are guided by people to take a small book in their hand and follow every single page when they are walking without understanding what they are doing. That makes their Hajj formally complete.
All right.
But unless you have a perceptive mind, you want to understand why is it so, it cannot bring change. That's why I'm saying again and again, it's a matter of orientation before they go for Hajj. For example, the hadith tells us, if a person who has been all his life very sinful goes for Hajj and comes back, then he is like white cotton or white snow, which means that now there is no more any burden on the person of sins. Now, should the person have a diary now and say, today I am all clean, let me start again the count of doing wrongs till the year is complete, again I will come and get all things cleaned. Illogical, irrational. That means when the person is going back now, he has to think, I have sacrificed time, sacrificed some wealth, sacrificed an animal. Now it's time for me to find out, can I sacrifice my ego? Can I sacrifice my opinion? Can I sacrifice my status quo? Can I sacrifice my vested interest? And all that is a part of contemplation. All that is part of self-analysis. All that part of orientation. If the person has been never told, when you are coming back, now you are a new person. And new person means you will no more get involved in black money, in drug money. You will no more be the same bureaucrat who was sitting in his office reading newspaper and people waiting outside for an interview. You will be no more the businessman who makes promises that I'll deliver you goods but never meet the quality. You will be a different person. Now, you have to translate your Hajj in your actual life. You will no more disregard your neighborhood, people who are poor, who need your help, and you just go without responding to their need. You have to respond. Now, all these aspects, as I've been saying again and again, are part of that orientation which has to be done. In that, community, media particularly, state, mosques, everything, universities are responsible. Why universities cannot offer a voluntary group of students who go to various villages as part of their social service program and educate them and tell them? Why not? Why we think that social service is done only in a model city which has been made in a town to show foreigners that we patronize local culture? Is this a matter of cosmetics? Why not real service of people? So we can think of hundreds of ways by which we can educate our people, and if that is done, I am sure not in one, but maybe in 5 years, we will have a revolutionary mass of people who come back with a different personality.
And who come back changed persons.
And this mass of people, may that be 10%, 5%, 2%,
will bring a change in the
will
society.
change the whole society.
That's very important, that change in the society, of course. As you've mentioned, because it's an individual who begins that change and he transmits that change amongst the people that is, of course, that the society that is around him. Now you talked about the sins that a person when he goes for Hajj has all his sins cleansed. Are all his sins cleansed, or are the hukukul ibad sins put on one side, or are they also cleansed once he returns from Hajj?
Yeah, it's a very good question. You see, hukukul ibad have such centrality that even in the day of judgment, a hadith tells us that a person who has made best performance of prayers and Hajj and everything needed, when he will come and someone will come and say, this person did not give my right, then all his prayers will be given to this person. The second person will come and say, he took my land, and the other part of ibadat will be given to him, till this person will become bankrupt. Hadith says the failed person and bankrupt is that who has done best ibadat but avoided rights of people.
All right.
So he will be without any treasures in the day of judgment, and all he earned his life will be transferred to those who were denied their rights by him. Hukukul ibad cannot be forgiven by anyone except the person. Therefore, when someone goes for Hajj, it's extremely important that if someone has any dues, those must be cleared. If you have taken money from someone, harmed someone, seek his forgiveness, and after that go for Hajj. And at the same time, try to be more kind and generous, not just seeking a verbal forgiveness, but to be more generous and kind to one who was deprived earlier. So you compensate as much as possible. That is love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He Himself gives more than what we need. What we need is always guaranteed by Him, but He is so generous that He does not stop there, but He keeps on giving us. Same He expects from His servants, that if you have deprived, someone has not served his parents properly, then he must compensate for that and be more and more humble, more and more kind, more and more loving and caring. Someone may have not taken care of a neighbor, then he must seek forgiveness before going to Hajj, and when comes back, do excessive favor, not favor but excessive kindness to the person. Now all these aspects need to be discussed, elaborated, and I think that it's not a matter of a half an hour program to meet the so-called requirements of a controlling agency that we have served community for 2% of the program, but it's a matter of education.
That is so true.
And if media is just a matter of entertainment, it's no media at all. It's our responsibility that media should have a sizable part of time for such kind of activities, which we unfortunately miss, because media thinks if it can prove it's as good as Hollywood or Bollywood, then they think it's their pride. I think it's their foolishness. They don't understand the responsibility. So if they understand, definitely we can change the people, give them proper orientation, and change the whole society.
Because unless and until, and this is what I have gathered through the whole show and the talk that you've had with me, is that until and unless you have a proper orientation, a proper understanding of what the Hajj means to you as an individual, to you as a person who's cleansing himself or herself from all his or her sins, and also a method to change yourself once you return from that Hajj, then that value of the Hajj is not as much as if you would have gone. It would just be like cramming things and not having the proper effect of what Hajj means and how important a pillar of the society it is. Professor Dr. Anis Ahmed Saab, thank you so very much to have given us the time. I know we could have talked much more, we're a little bit short of time, but thank you so very much to have given us a little insight of what the importance of Hajj is for an individual who goes to perform.
We couldn't
this
talk
ritual
about sacrifice, which is
Yes.
very important, but maybe sometime later.
Inshallah, sir, definitely we'll have that occasion to do that. And ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the whole show, the element of sacrifice, whether it is by sacrificing yourself the bad part of you, that evil side of you that you kind of sacrifice before you go for Hajj, thinking and praying to Allah, that when you say labbaik Allahumma labbaik, and when you are doing tawaf, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, walillahil hamd, when you say all of that, you believe from your heart and soul, if you really want that Hajj to be effective, that I am coming to you, my Lord, to cleanse myself of all that I have done in the past, and I want to be a better human, a better Muslim, not only to myself but also to the people around me. That is how a person changes. That is how a society changes. This is what Islam teaches us, and this is one of the most important reasonings behind performing Hajj. Omar Khalid Bad bids you farewell from this very special episode on PTV World on Hajj 2018. We'll be inshallah back, and we'll talk more about the different elements of Islam, of Hajj, of course of sacrifice, with Professor Dr. Anis Ahmed whenever we get the time. Till then, stay tuned to PTV World, because here is where we educate you. Allah Hafiz.